What's up, Leafs fans, and welcome back to Leafs Digest. Goody, guess who's back? Back again. Brooksy's back. Tell a friend.
Brooksy.
Adam Brooks has been reacquired or claimed off of waivers by the Toronto Maple Leafs. His third time this season that he's been put on waivers and claimed again. But before we get into the Adam Brooks news, I want to remind everybody, Goody and I are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. We're pushing pace right now. We're getting awfully close. We're growing our hair out to the playoffs. And if we hit that 2K mark before the beginning of the playoffs, we will be getting mullets. So if you want to see some ridiculous hairdos, it's as simple as hitting a button, man. Like, you take that mouse, you move your finger over there. You're on your phone right now. There was a subscribe button popping up. There's things on the screen. You hit that button right now. Subscribe to this channel. Help the boys get to 2K. So help us get there. Help us get some mullets. We'll be rocking those for playoffs. But let's get into the Adam Brooks news here. Third time this season, Adam Brooks is claimed off of waivers. And honestly, my very, very first impression of this is going to have to relate to the video that we did last night talking about Josh Hosang, his likelihood of playing in the NHL this season, returning from the Olympics, and more on top of that, his likelihood of playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. With reacquiring Adam Brooks today off of waivers, to me personally, my first impression is that the idea or the possibility for Josh Hosang to join this team when he comes back from Beijing is gone out the window. I think that Brooks coming back to Toronto here is a pretty telling sign that either more things are about to happen with this team, which I do think that they are, and or Josh Hosang will not have a future with this Toronto Maple Leafs team.
You know what? That's a really there's definitely a good chance that Josh Hosang's opportunity is out the window now, just to be completely realistic about it. But there is also the reality that the Leafs are making moves at trade deadline.
Yeah.
To think that there's only one accessible spot on this forward roster, maybe actually it is kind of realistic. At first you want to say, no, I'm sure there'll be more room. But even to this very moment, like a guy like Pierre Engvall will need to step out if everyone's healthy. And that's just a situation where, he's deserved the chance. I don't know if any of those guys have jumped him. So I've already sounded off on sort of how competitive it is going to be to fit another forward into the mix. But trade deadline is going to be bringing a lot of change, and we got to prepare for potential injuries too. So even if everything does go to like the worst possible scenario for Hosang, I still think that come trade deadline day, a lot can happen that could mean he stays here. But you're right. For the time being, on the surface level, this does make things a lot more complicated for him.
Yeah, and as far as Adam Brooks goes, coming here and being claimed off of waivers by the Toronto Maple Leafs, the immediate short-term future, what this means for the team, for anybody out there wondering right now, Brooks coming in, he's on a one-way contract, hence why he has to be sent down and clearing waivers and going through all these different things and being claimed and going to different teams. Like, he's on the one-way contract. He can be claimed by different teams. So him coming here, the Leafs are obviously not going to waive him. In him joining this team, in order to clear cap space, the Leafs did have to send down Timothy Liljegren to the AHL today. It's a pretty easy maneuver, two-way contract. He goes down, no one can claim him. Easy as that. Open up that cap space. But what this does mean, because Brooks is currently on the IR and he's not playing, is that this Leafs team sits at 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, so they only got 18 skaters right now. And part of where the problem with that comes in and why Liljegren has to be sent down is because $1.375 million of our cap space is tied up with Nick Ritchie, who is not playing. And as I alluded to, you mentioned it as well, this likely means more moves are coming, and I strongly believe in the coming weeks we will see a move for where Nick Ritchie moves away from Toronto, whether that be for anything in return as part of a package, whether he goes with other players, or whether it's strictly to just get rid of him and open up that cap space. I think that the Leafs are going to look at moving Nick Ritchie as a much more prominent priority here as things approach the trade deadline. They're already looking to shop him, but truthfully, I think that this means that in the shorter term, Nick Ritchie, his time here in Toronto has already finished. Playing with the Marlies, I think that will be coming to an end here as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Think about the expectations we had for Ritchie, and had he been paid a little bit less money, maybe he still fits into the bigger picture. But unfortunately, that contract is what it is. He's going to get his money regardless, so I'm sure he'll live through it. But realistically, he's done in Toronto. he's been kind of checking out for a while, and this really puts the stamp on it that we're going to go different ways for forward depth, not the $2.5 million to have you kicking around on the fourth line kind of route. I don't think that's in their best interest anymore at all. So yeah, Nick Ritchie, unfortunately a failed project. I'm still very happy that Brendan Shanahan and Kyle Dubas can wear this one on the chin, because it's going to take a little bit of guts to go up there and, maybe put together an ugly trade to get this man off your team just for cap space purposes. And this was one of the big fishes that you went out and caught this summer in free agency. I mean, I'm happy that they're wearing it versus trying to fight through it. It's championship or bust. If he's financially not fitting into the structure or performing up to his pay grade, well, chances are he's going to hurt us, because we already have a few guys who teeter on that line. So it is what it is. I'm happy to see that the management of the Leafs is taking the right route here, exploring trades to get him gone. But until it's a done deal, I'm sure it'll be looming on everyone's mind. And I feel bad for Ritchie, right? He's from Ontario. He ideally plays a pretty cool brand of hockey. It's sad it didn't work out. Seriously, we were excited about this guy.
Yeah, well, the Leafs at this point, they're looking to move on from Nick Ritchie. We know that they're going to be looking to just get rid of him for pretty much anything they possibly can as they approach the trade deadline. And they will be looking to cut ties with him and Goody. It's never good. It never feels good to get cut. And if you're not trying to get cut anymore, it's time to look into Manscaped. With the new 4.0 performance package by Manscaped, it's an absolute game changer. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. They offer a precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. And if you go and buy the Performance Package, you can join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. And this exclusive offer is just for you guys. You get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code LeafsDigest at manscaped.com. And I mean, I'm talking here about we don't want to get cut. Do people trust this product? Can I trust this product? 4 million men worldwide. Over 4 million men. And Goody, I've said it before, a self-proclaimed stat guy on this show right now. That's about 8 million balls worldwide, man. Over 4 million men, about 8 million balls worldwide that trust this product. And you're still sitting here saying you're trying to get me to use this electric razor on my balls. Like, I'm going to get cut. I can't trust this. I don't know if I can do this. Well, guess what? Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is water-resistant and also has a 400K LED spotlight. Goody, I've never even heard of 400K LED spotlights. But this gives you the opportunity to have a more precise shave. You're looking at there, you're trying to get detailed. Maybe you're trying to put designs. I don't know what you do in your free time, but if this Manscaped products, they offer it all. I mean, you're talking trimmers, deodorants, toners, and on top of all this, they're throwing in boxers, a travel bag, and a nose and ear hair trimmer. It does not get much better than that. So if you guys are looking for new products, if you guys are looking for something you can trust, go to manscaped.com where you can get 20% off and free shipping with promo code Leafs Digest. It's flying across the screen right now. You guys can see it. Go to manscaped.com, promo code Leafs Digest. Enter it there. You get 20% off and free shipping. It doesn't get much better than that. We are bringing you guys the best we have to offer, so head over to Manscaped and check that out. But Goody, back to the Adam Brooks talk here. One thing that I think with him coming here is it's going to be a lot of the talk, and you and I had kind of mentioned it when it was referring to Ho-Sang yesterday, is you bring this guy in here, how does he fit in? I saw people in the comments section of yesterday's video saying, what would he be? Would he be the 13th forward? Does he fit in the lineup? Can he play in the top 6? I personally was of the belief he would be a 13th forward, maybe slot in here and there based on injuries or poor performance, whatever the case was. With Adam Brooks coming here, I think he firmly slots in as the 13th forward, and I don't see any situation where this team moves away from him. And I even went back and I found quotes from Sheldon Keefe when they placed Adam Brooks on waivers back in October before the season had started. And he said, and quote, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit at the end here, but he said, "We like a lot about him, so it'd be a win for us if he cleared waivers and stayed in the organization." Sheldon Keefe coached him with the Marlies. He had an opportunity to coach him when he came up with the Leafs last year. I mean, you look at his season last year, he had 11 games played, 4 goals and an assist. He looked good alongside Jason Spezza. He hasn't had the greatest season this year, but it's kind of hard when you're bouncing around team to team. He goes to Montreal, he plays 4 games, he has no goals, 1 assist. Then he gets waived and he goes to Vegas. He plays 7 games. 2 goals, 0 assists, and then he ends up with their AHL team, 5 games, 0 goals, 3 assists. This guy has not had an opportunity to play much hockey. I don't think he's jumping into this lineup and playing a whole ton when he gets here, but he's a guy that they know that they can trust to put into this lineup. There's familiarity with the situation, especially between him and Sheldon Keefe. So I think that above all, it's a comfortable guy to have around as the 13th forward.
Yeah, and do you think there's any chance maybe that, the Leafs might say actually Ho-Sang's a little bit more exciting, gives us a bit more scoring, like, hybrid in your bottom six? And by that, I mean, like, he's got a lot of skill clearly, but he's also learned to play a gritty game that Brooks would probably play. Maybe the Leafs look at Ho-Sang and be like, we've got both of these guys as options because we're going to make big moves at trade deadline and injuries happen. I mean, most teams are pretty much guaranteed to either go into the playoffs with one or sustain one during that time. So you got to be deep. You got to be resilient. Is there a chance that even with this going on, like, I don't know, you say the stats there. I knew that he was kind of in that ballpark of, he'll come in and maybe score the occasional goal. I mean, I watched him with Toronto.
Yeah.
Even though there's trust there, they never accomplished anything with him anyways. I still think that Ho-Sang is a very viable option. I think that they're stocking up for trade deadline because a lot of things could happen. But I'm starting, even the more and more we're talking about this right now, Phil, I'm starting to feel like this doesn't rule out a Josh Ho-Sang appearance in the second half of the season for the Leafs, or hopefully even into the playoffs.
I don't think it rules it out, but I think it makes his opportunity a lot more difficult, his path to get there a lot more difficult, because I think that bringing in an Adam Brooks means that his maneuvering down to the AHL is going to be a lot more difficult in the future if they decide to send him down. And yes, they can sign Ho-Sang, but once they bring him up, they're not sending him down either. So there would have to be more opportunities and openings in this current lineup.
And my question to you, though, if you start the playoffs tomorrow, you have both of these guys on your roster, you need to narrow it down to like whatever the number is, but you're setting your lines. Who do you rather put in on that fourth line tomorrow if the playoffs started? Ho-Sang or Brooks? Sorry. Ho-Sang or Brooks. The dramatic pause there.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you're going to follow it up with like an Engvall or something, but
No.
Brooks, because he's played in the NHL this year and because he played for the Leafs last season. That's where I go to it. I think that I looked at him alongside Jason Spezza, and I liked what I saw. I think a lot of Leafs fans out there kind of saw the same things, and he played well with him. He also added a lot of speed to that line. Now, mind you, Engvall has played a lot better this year. He's stepped up his game. He's played well alongside those guys. He's used his strengths to kind of propel him and take a step forward, which is something that we weren't sure he was going to do, or if he even had it in his bag, and he clearly does, and he's used it. I think that Brooks kind of slides in as the guy who is the replacement for the fourth line center or the replacement for the fourth line left winger. He is a left-handed centerman primarily, but we did see him play a little bit of wing. We did see Spezza move over and play wing and Brooks play center. He has a little bit of versatility there, but personally, I think it would be Brooks ahead of Ho-Sang, Engvall ahead of Brooks right now.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair list there. And I think probably from like a familiarity standpoint, like I understand that. It's so tough to say, because if you said you need to make this decision now and it stays that way the rest of the series, I'd probably go with Ho-Sang. But if I could make the decision and then feel it out game by game, I think I get why starting with Brooks would make more sense. But my point is, it's neck and neck. Who knows what's going to happen? But I'm excited to see Brooks back here because clearly the Leafs do like him, have a level of comfort there. And the more comfy they are, the better chance that we can win a playoff series and get this curse over with.
Yeah, I know, honestly. Well, I'm excited to have him back here as well. I know that it's not a huge impact, a huge signing, or a huge reacquisition by this Toronto team. It is the third time that he's been claimed off of waivers this season. He hasn't put up a lot of points, really. I mean, you look at 3 points in 11 games played this season, but when you're bouncing around, you're not playing much, you're not in the lineup, it's hard to get a rhythm going, and he's not going to have too much consistency here in Toronto, I don't believe, but he will have an opportunity to get in some games, and given the trust that they already have in him, and for them to bring him back, they clearly see something in him. But what I will say, and I cannot predict what it will be, but I mean, one thing to note as well here is that the lines for today's practice were the exact same as the game against Seattle, and Sheldon Keefe after practice said, don't read too much into the lines from today at practice. And when I look at that and then I see an acquisition of Adam Brooks, we hear all these rumblings about guys who could potentially be traded and Nick Ritchie moving on. Maybe other pieces are coming back. I'm thinking something's brewing here in Toronto. I think something's building up. And oftentimes when we hear things out of Toronto, it's all smoke and it's not much going on. This might be a situation where there really, really is something brewing beneath the surface, and we could be preparing for something big. So Leafs fans, if you guys are looking for all the news, the reactions, the rumors, all that kind of stuff, you guys can find it on this channel. And as I said, hey, we're on the road to 2,000 subscribers, and if you want to see us with some mullets, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We will be growing our hair out into the playoffs, and if we get 2K before the playoffs, we will go mullets. It'll be just an absolute spectacle on here, both of us rocking mullets. I think that would be pretty hilarious. So Leafs fans, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment below what you guys think about Adam Brooks, what you think about this means for Josh Ho-Sang's future, and what potential moves might be coming up here in Toronto. That is a reason for the Toronto Maple Leafs to go out and claim this guy off of waivers. Leafs fans, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you guys tomorrow after tomorrow night's game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll see you guys then. Keep believing.
Signing off.